From Port St. Lucie, Florida, 30 clubs, 30 camps. We're with the New York Mets. The Mets, of course, missed the postseason last year, but they roll into 2026 with renewed expectations and hopes. Alongside Cliff Floyd, a former Met, I'm Robert Flores. We're glad you're with us. Cliff, as I said, expectations high, as always, here for the New York Mets, but there is some uncertainty here with this club.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is trying to, figure out how you're going to get the production that you lost in the Pete Alonso, but you have some versatility. And when you have versatility, that means, and some good versatility, I mean, Luis Roberts, if you can get that passion back in him to play, and then you got a Carson Benz who's a younger guy that is, on the cusp of making the league and, making the team. And if you can get these guys to sort of just play within themselves and not try to do too much, I think you're on the right path.
Yeah, Carlos Mendoza, the manager, said, hey, Luis Robert, when healthy, if he's right, he is very impressed with the skill set of Lou Bob.
Ruffalo, so you start looking at the stats and you go, wait a minute, in 2021, it was 145 games, 38 and 80. That plays, if you're talking about Luis Roberts that plays 150 games.
You mentioned the versatility, and while there are some question marks around the roster and the lineup, there is some versatility that maybe Carlos Mendoza hasn't had in the past couple of seasons.
Right, and I think that's the biggest thing is, right, when you have that versatility, that's something you look at in the spring with a Lindor out, who can play multiple positions and give you what you need.
Mark Vientos, possibly at first, could put him at third to spell Bo Bichette every now and then. Brett Beatty, as you said, also.
Right
so a lot of versatility here for the New York Mets. Hey, remember the slow start Juan Soto got off to? Well, all he did last year was go for 40-plus homers, and he was 2 stolen bases away from a 40-40 season. Earlier, we had a chance to catch up with the Mets superstar. Juan, I know you're getting ready to go to the WBC. What does it mean to represent your country on that stage?
I feel it's one of the best things that you can ever make. It's a different experience, to be part of that team, to represent the whole Dominican Republic. I mean, it's just in another level. The pride that you feel, the energy, and it's in another level.
Hey, when you look at like getting to camp and not having the guy that, big clubhouse guy and Pete Alonso, what's the dynamic now? How do you guys, plan on bonding and making sure everything is flowing naturally?
Pete was great for the team. He was great in the clubhouse and outside of the clubhouse. He was a great leader. But you got to move on. You got to move on. And what we do here, it's like we are the same. We are equal. Everybody in that room has a voice. Everybody feels good. Everybody feels comfortable. And just have fun, man. Like, don't worry about the vibe is going to be there if you have fun. Every day you bring a smile, bring the good energy, everything's going to go in the right way.
The transition from right to left, how's that going?
I feel it's pretty easy. It's been pretty easy.
Helps that you've played it before.
Yeah, I've been there. I played 4 years there, and I felt good before. So it's not that tough, and definitely having the chance to help the team to increase on defensively on defense, I feel is really good.
Let's go back to last year real quick. So when you got hot, you got more on your legs. When I'm watching you, it's always like when you sitting on your legs, it's like it's a different guy. Is there some adjustments you do to make sure you get on your legs and stay on them?
Yeah, I try to always work on my legs, work on my swing, work down in my legs. That's where my power comes from. I always tell everybody I just try to touch the ball and let my whole body do the rest. When the ball goes far, it's just coming from my legs. So when my legs are in a good spot, my whole body follows.
You just need 2 more bases for 40.
That's it. Well, he's winning the MVP this year, so it's 50-50.
I mean, are we going to see more stolen bases again? Is that a permanent part, you feel, of your game?
I'm going to try my best. Definitely, I told my team before, and whenever they need my speed, I'm going to try. I have great hitters behind me, too, so we want to let them hit and make sure we're in a good position for them to drive me in. But whenever I can, I'm going to try to take it and help the team in that way, too.
Well, Juan, best of luck to you in the WBC.
Thank you, brother.
Best of luck this season. We appreciate the time.
Appreciate it.
You got it.
All right.
After a breakout season in 2024, Mark Vientos struggled at the plate in 2025. The culprit, his inability to catch up with the fastball. We caught up with Swaggy V himself, Mark Vientos. All right, Mark, just listening to Carlos Mendoza earlier today, he said you're getting better at first. How has that transition been for you? How's that working over there?
It's been good. I feel super comfortable over there. did a lot of work this off season, and just talking to the guys, Kai and Leap, they've been helping out a lot with getting more comfortable with first base, the footwork around the bag, and just receiving balls.
When we talk about hitting, you and I, we talk about some of the things and nuances that go in our brains and how it works. How do you get yourself to not get back to 24, but understand that 24 is in his body?
I think it's just going back to staying consistent with the routine. I think my routine in 24 was the most consistent it's ever been in my career. I stuck to it for the whole season, and I felt like I had something to lean back on when things weren't going my way, and it just gave me confidence on the field.
I was showing you this earlier. You talked about the approach and what you guys did. This is you in 24, and last year the numbers weren't the same in part because you said it was an approach thing. You were maybe looking for spin or off speed and ended up being late on the heater. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think going into 25, I had that year that I had in 24. I had more expectations for myself, put too much pressure on myself, and I tried to be someone I was not. I tried to be perfect at the plate. And it's like, just be who you were in 24, be who you are. Like me, I'm going to attack what I want to attack, like I said, and when it's there, I won't miss it.
Yeah. Well, this guy needs to hit bombs.
Well, he needs to hit bombs, but we talked about him being on his legs, and I see it now. See, the two-handed finish means you have to stay on your legs.
Yeah.
You cannot come off. If you come off, that means you become a one-handed, one-dimensional swinger. I mean, I ain't trying to be a hitting coach, but like that right there is why we always look at tape, right? So it's breaking things down like that allows me to see if you're on your legs with your load, then there's no way for me to come off of it because then I become less dominant.
Absolutely.
Got it.
Well, Mark, we appreciate the time.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you at first base and at the plate, and thank you very much for the time.
Thank you guys so much.
You got it.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
So we asked you on social media, which new face besides Bo Bichette and Freddie Peralta is going to have the biggest impact for the Mets in 2026? What do you think, Cliff?
Well, I'm going to go with Devin Williams. I think when you think about Devin Williams, you lost Edwin Diaz. I mean, that's a really big one to lose, right?
Yeah.
As far as the back end of that bullpen and getting those precious 3 outs, as I always talk about. And Devin Williams has something to prove. I think he's going out with a chip on his shoulder to prove that his stuff is as good as advertising what we've seen in the past.
Well, we will tell you what you guys said a little bit later in the show. Welcome back to 30 Clubs, 30 Camps. We're with the Mets in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Here are the Mets' top prospects according to MLB.com. At number 4 is the outfielder second baseman A.J. Ewing. He's 21 years old. He reached Double-A last year. Nolan McLean, of course, is at the top. The 24-year-old was really the Mets' best pitcher at the big league level towards the end of last season. Carson Benj and Jonah Tong slots in at number 3. Here with Mets pitcher Nolan McLean. Nolan, you were saying on Sunday that the clubhouse was buzzing watching the United States and Canada and that gold medal for the hockey at the Olympics. You're going to get a taste of international competition soon.
Yep.
Did that kind of whet your appetite a little bit watching the hockey?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was already fired up to begin with, but watching those guys go out there and compete, go into overtime, get their teeth knocked out and still get out there and keep doing it was unbelievable. So it's definitely gets me going.
As we focus on the Mets and as your approach this season, in light of the success that you had last year, and it was really big-time success, how are you approaching this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing for me is know what I do really well at and stick with those things, but also be able to develop things that I'm not so great at. And once again, it comes down to a competition for me each time. If I just go out there and compete and trust my stuff in the zone, the law of averages, it should work out most of the time.
The rotation as a whole with Freddie coming over, and there's some other X factors, guys coming back from injuries as well. What do you see from the rotation as a whole and its potential?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with the culture we're building. And like from day one, Freddie came in. It was a joy to be around, really. He's always smiling, super outgoing. And I think it starts there. And then just watching the work that he puts in with the track record he already has is he's setting a really good example in the clubhouse. And we got a lot of like really good vets who are working their butts off.
This offseason, was there an area of focus for you? And if so, what was it?
Yeah, I think for me, for one, I mean, just continue to throw all my stuff in the zone and just trusting it in the zone. And then from like a pitch development standpoint, just finding ways to implement my changeup and cutter a little bit more, and just build confidence around those pitches.
How do you know as a young player, or when is that moment for you, and maybe it was last season, where you thought, you know what, my stuff plays, I think I could do this. I think I could stay here. What was that? You recall when that moment was?
I mean, I've always had a lot of self-belief, and you have to play this game. But yeah, I mean, I always knew I had good stuff. At least that's what the analytics said. But it's not until you face the big league guys where you're like, okay, it's playing. And at any given moment, those guys can get you. So it's a constant cat-mouse game when you're out there of like, what are they looking for? What do I need to throw? What am I throwing for strikes today? So it's a lot that goes into it. But yeah, I mean, the ultimate self-belief is what it really comes down to.
Last season, do you recall your welcome to the big leagues moment? A moment when you're like, oh my goodness, that is so-and-so in the box. I grew up watching him.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I debuted, I didn't really have one, I guess, before. Soto came up to me and was like, hey, welcome to the show. That was really cool for me. But it wasn't until I was pitching, and I can't remember if a runner got on first, and I always check up the middle who I got on double plays, or if we were holding a guy on. And I just remember seeing Francisco, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's who I got up the middle. That's pretty cool. So that was kind of my moment. And then when we played the Phillies, and it wasn't really when I was pitching, it was when I'm in the dugout able to watch the game, where I'm like, man, it's Bryce Harper playing first. I watched millions of his games growing up, so it was really cool.
Lastly, how much do you miss hitting?
Not as much as I thought. I hit a little bit this off season.
You did?
Yeah, just
to get loose.
Just to try it out, just keep the. I don't want to lose athleticism.
And how was it when you tried it?
I think I'm better now than I was.
Really?
Yeah, and there's no swing thoughts going on anymore, so it's not in my head quite as much. But no, yeah, I mean, I swung a little bit, and yeah, definitely like pitching a lot more.
And just so we're clear, there's no chance we see Cowboy Ohtani 2.0.
I wouldn't say no chance.
Really?
I think there's a very high chance it never happens.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Hey, no,
99%.
We appreciate the time.
Yeah,
Good luck at the
I appreciate
WBC,
it.
and good luck
Yeah,
this season.
thank you for having me.
You got it.
Manager interviews are presented by Sage, the official finance software partner of Major League Baseball.
Welcome back to 30 Clubs, 30 Camps. We're with the Mets in Port St. Lucie, Florida. New York Mets were very active this offseason. They lost a lot of players. They also signed a lot of players, notably in the bullpen. Luke Weaver, who figures to be the setup man for Devin Williams. Here with Mets reliever Luke Weaver. As I was saying, you don't really have to move. You're kind of in the greater New York City area, just switching boroughs. How's the transition been?
It's been great so far. Yeah, don't have to move too much. We'll be in a similar area, a different route, maybe a different highway. But at the end of the day, it's been an amazing transition. Everybody's been great, some former teammates, and just high on a club that's going to be very successful. So excited about it.
What have they told you about how they envision your role in this bullpen, and what do you envision yourself for your role in this pen?
Yeah, I think it's still early in the communications on that. We're trying to establish and get our arms right, make sure we're healthy. Those conversations will come, but I just want to make an impact. I've always tried to think about it, especially as a new reliever in my career, just to get outs and do them when they need them, and just show up every day and be successful. And if I could do that, then the roles are the roles. They're just labels.
You were mentioning that nothing really new that you've working on. It's just all about refinement. What is that process like?
It's a daunting one at times. When things are flowing right and you got a nice mix going, then you just kind of show up and you feel confident. I think there's moments where month to month, week to week, we talked, even year to year, you're just trying to tweak and get those things back to level ground, and then from there you're going to have plus days and down days. And so for me, just navigating what I have that day, but this is the time to really push the envelope, try different breaks on different pitches, tweak grips, and get hitter feedback. I mean, these guys are pretty good, and your teammates are willing to share the knowledge as opposed to the opposition.
Well, best of luck to you and the Mets this year. We appreciate the time.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Here's a look at the options for the 2026 Mets rotation, which of course was a concern at the end of last season. Clay Holmes has been experimenting with a curveball this spring. Nolan McLean was amazing and was really the Mets' best pitcher towards the end of last season. But at the top figures to be Freddie Peralta. Last year in Milwaukee, ERA under 3 in 33 starts while recording at least 200 strikeouts for a third straight season. Time for the manager interview presented by Sage, here with Mets skipper Carlos Mendoza. We were just talking about the young players, the prospects, and on our graphic, we were looking, 3 of these 4 guys, I mean, they're expected to make contributions right now. I mean, it's McLean, it's Binge, it's Tong maybe at some point. How do you feel about your young group that might be pressed into service pretty early?
I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I feel pretty good about not only those 3, but a lot of the talent that we are going to have at the AAA level that are knocking out the door, whether it's at AJU and a Moravito type. Some of the arms that we're going to see at that level. You mentioned Nolan McLean. Mm-hmm. We got to see it towards the end of last year. Jonathan. Don't forget about Christian Scott, who's coming off an injury here. He was pretty special for us in 2024. So there's a lot of names. You mentioned Carson Bench, obviously, but there's a lot of talent, and you got to give credit to our player development group here.
So you look at some of the challenges you have with injuries. I heard you talking about it earlier in camp about some, Frankie's out for a little bit, and then you have some other guys that's getting back healthy. As far as getting these guys ready, how patient do you have to be? Is just making sure these guys are right and ready for spring training?
We have to be smart. I know Francisco is going to push, big time. This is a guy that's played through so much throughout his career, and I have no doubt that he's going to be our shortstop come opening day. But then we have some guys. Louis Robert is the perfect example. Because of his past injury, we want to make sure we do it right. So we're kind of slow playing him right now in spring training, a lot of backfield action. He's healthy, but we just want to make sure we get him to a spot where we feel like, all right, he's ready to go now. Opening day comes. We feel good about where he's at. Polanco, same way. Yeah. Francisco Alvarez is another guy. They're healthy. On the pitching side, I'm encouraged about Kodai Senga. I know you guys haven't asked me, but we can talk more about that.
That's what I wanted to go to, because final one for me, Kodai, Manaya, some others maybe. There's some X factors here. What have you seen early from those guys, and the fact that Freddie Peralta is at the top, how important is that?
Yeah, it's super important. We know what Freddie brings, not only on the field but off the field. And it's not a secret how much of a struggle it was for us with the starting rotation last year because of injuries, But the fact that we're here now and this early, and we mentioned a guy like Sean Manaya. Last year around this time he was hurt. Kodai Senga, I'm watching him throw live batting practice in his mid-90s. I never seen that before since I got this job. So that tells me that we got a healthy player there. So, and then you add a Clay Holmes second year, Nolan McLean. I feel really Peterson is in a good place right now. So feel good with guys are at.
My last one, Mendy, is Devin Williams. Lost a big arm in Diaz, and now you get Devin Williams, who I feel is pitching with a little chip on the shoulder as far as just the talk that they was surrounding his name last year. But I know the stuff is there. What have you seen from him mentally?
Yeah, stuff is there. He wanted to be here in New York. And
he want to leave New York.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it wasn't easy for him at the beginning, but he makes some adjustments and he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's going to be a huge part on that bullpen. Hopefully getting the last 3 outs every time we're asking him to do. He's not replacing Edwin Diaz.
He should know that.
Devin Williams is being elite, at this level for so many years. Yeah. So he's going to be our guy.
Well, Mendy, we appreciate the time. Good luck to you and the Mets in 2026.
Thanks
appreciate
for having
it.
Me, guys.
Thank you very much, man. Good seeing you. Earlier, we asked you on social media, of the new acquisitions, and besides Bo Bichette and Freddie Peralta, which one is going to have the biggest impact? 29% of you that voted said it's going to be Louis Robert Jr. that will have the biggest impact among the new acquisitions. Marcus Semien trails him with 26%. Then it's Jorge Polanco, also with 26%. And reliever Devin Williams, Cliff's pick, just under 20%. Thanks for voting. Okay, wrapping things up here from Port St. Lucie. Cliff, there are 2 question marks for this team right now. Who's going to play right field? And then you got Weaver in the 8th, Devin Williams for the 9th, the rest of the bullpen. Carlos Mendoza is still trying to figure that out.
Right, you have to figure that out, but I think the biggest thing, you have some health and rotation, which helps, kind of bridge that gap to get to the bullpen. But my biggest question is replacing 30-plus homers and 100-plus RBIs. I know people say, well, the defense, this and that. I don't care. All I care about is the run production and how you get it with Pete gone. But you have some good, options, right? If Luis Roberts can bounce back, if you get a Bo Bichette who's healthy now and do his thing over at third base, if the Carson Benz kid is a hit and gets a chance to play every day, because the bat is strong. I saw him taking BP.
doubt.
It looks good. He's going to get every opportunity to make this team. So all these things has to come together, and they get Frankie back at short, healthy off the hamate bone injury, and I think you can now then see a big picture for this team.
Hey, Carlos Mendoza told me the one player that isn't getting talked about enough, right-handed pitcher Christian Scott. He missed all of last season with Tommy John. Carlos Mendoza said he could figure into our rotation plans. That's going to do it here from Mets camp in Port St. Lucie. For Cliff Floyd and for all of our team behind the scenes and behind the camera, I'm Robert Flores. Thanks for watching 30 Clubs, 30 Camps.